Welcome back to the Cazaly Resources podcast. Joining me is Managing Director Tara French. Hi, Tara.
Hi, Anwin.
First of all, congratulations. You guys are about to hit 20 years, which is phenomenal. Can you tell me a little bit about how the company actually started?
Yeah, so the company was floated 20 years ago. And so Clive Jones and the late Nathan McMahon floated the company. So it was actually their second company. So their first company, they got together. They actually... I guess they actually floated the idea of working together and starting a company at the cricket. You know,
right.
They love their sports. So the cricket was the first one, and so then they started Cazaly Resources.
Yeah.
That was the first company in 2000. And then in 2003, they started Cazaly Resources. So, and Nathan wanted to name it Cazaly after Roy Cazaly because he is
up there, Cazaly.
Absolutely. Crazy football fan. So he certainly got his way.
Yep.
And Clive tells that story very well about the naming of the company.
Mm-hmm.
That's really how it started. They got together because Nathan's got a great history and lots of contacts in the industry. His parents were in tenement management for a long time and so he had exposure to the industry as well, and he'd done a lot of work in the field as well already. So, and then he really needed a geologist. He sort of knew he wanted to start a company, and Clive was like, well, I've got those skills, and so they got together and they were away, and they made a really good team. Had great adventures, and developed a really cool business model at Cazaly.
What are some of the big highlights over the last 20 years for Cazaly?
It's Clive would definitely be better at telling this story. However, I can give you a bit of insight to a couple,
Sure.
I guess. So certainly staking the Etango uranium project. So Clive and Nathan did that, and Clive sits on the board at Bannerman, and so they're advancing that uranium project through to mining at the moment through Bannerman. So,
wow.
There's been a number of exciting companies that have spun out of Cazaly. That's certainly one of note, and also Clive was very involved in getting Galan Lithium up and running as well. So founding that one. So, there's been a fair bit of success at the company. The team also discovered Red October deposit, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
And then, they've also done some great deals where they sold the Parker Range project to Mineral Resources in 2019 for $20 million,
Wow.
retained half of that, actually gave half of that back to shareholders as a dividend, which for a junior is an amazing thing to do.
Absolutely.
And then retain a royalty. So MinRes are mining at Parker Range, and we anticipate that royalty income stream to start in 2025.
Yep.
And I'm sure there's many more highs
Mm-hmm.
that Clive could impart on you for sure, but that's just a few that I know about.
Since your time at Cazaly, would you say is Sundown the most exciting thing so far, or?
Well, it's an interesting question, that one, because I started at Cazaly because they had just staked the Ashburton project, which was this huge play up in the Ashburton Basin right next to the Pilbara, 2,500 square kilometres.
Yeah, okay.
And just had great potential, still has good potential for discoveries, and it had scale, it had mantle tapping structures, so there's potentially a great plumbing system there. There's 1 million ounce deposits along strike of these things, so they had staked this already, and for me I was like, wow, that's an amazing project. I really like the business model.
Yep.
And so that's what attracted me to the company to start with. And since then, I guess there's been a lot that's happened just in that small 2-year space. So I can't even imagine how much Clive's done in the last 20, So the last two, so we've advanced the Halls Creek project. We drilled out a porphyry copper resource there, done an MOU with AU King. That's been advanced to a mine scoping stage. We've acquired the Carb Lake Rare Earth project in Ontario. We've acquired the Sundown Lithium project in Quebec. And yeah, we've also acquired the Abernab North project in Namibia, which is prospective for rare earths and also base metals. So, you know, it is a really cool company to work for, really exciting, and we're always looking for new things, and we do like to try and get on the front foot and certainly get ahead of the market where we can. So always looking at reviewing what commodities have we got in our portfolio, what do we want to add in, you know, where do we want to go, what do we want to move to in the future. So, yeah, that's been my journey over the last 2 years. It's been a great ride.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like it. Your board of directors brings a wealth of experience to the company. How does this collective expertise contribute to Cazaly Resources' success and the decision-making process of where to go, how to get there? Yeah,
so we've got a great board. You know, I'm very lucky to have stepped into Cazaly and this space with such a wealth of knowledge, you know. So Clive Jones sits on the board as chair. He's got great wealth of knowledge, and also we've got Jonathan Downs. So he was a founding director of Molly Mines and Siberia Mining as well. So he's got a great history in corporate and also in mining, as does Clive. And also we have Terry Gardner, and so he has his own stockbroking house as well. And just, yeah, they've all got great connections, great insight into the industry and the business. And they've also seen, obviously, because, you know, they're sort of my vintage and a little bit older. And so we've seen the ups and downs and the cycles, and, you know, so I think together collaboratively we have a lot of good and also diverse input as well. And because of the contacts and the opportunities, we are able to look, you know, wherever we need to, basically around the world, for what resources do we want to be in, and then how do we target those, which space do we want to be in, and let's move forward. That's the other really cool piece about the business is everyone is very like-minded. You know, we have a strategy meeting each year and we make sure we're all on the same page, and, you know, also, you know, just floating new ideas, right? So it's good to get together and do that brainstorming once a year. It's great. And we meet regularly, of course, you know, the usual board meetings.
Yep. Cazaly Resources has a diverse portfolio of resource projects. Could you highlight one project you're particularly excited about and tell us what sets it apart?
Look, I do like them all, but when you have to pick your favourite child. The other really interesting one we've got at the moment that is in the portfolio and granted is our Carb Lake rare earth project. Yep. So this is located in northwest Ontario, so it is a bit remote, but so it would be, you know, sort of chopper work, but it's all that sort of thing in Canada, most of it anyway.
Yeah, okay.
But this carbonatite is huge, so it's over 3 kilometres in diameter, which by comparison is about roughly the same as Mount Weld, you know, run by Lynas. So that's in production now. And we have actually been able to gain access to historical drill core. There were 4 holes drilled into this thing in the 1960s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we managed to get that. We couldn't actually take it away, so it's stored in the Geological Survey and they want to preserve what's left. There's not a lot left. But we managed to get in there, do some handheld XRF on the core, and we got some excellent results for rare earths. So we know it's mineralised. It's a really exciting prospect to explore. Yeah. We just had a team out there actually doing our initial field work just to see on the ground what is it like. You know, we need to know, are we going to be able to get in there and drill in summer? Do we have to wait till winter, wait till it freezes over? You know, so we need to know our options. So they've been out in the field and it's all undercover. So there's about 12 centimetres of cover, just sort of muds and stuff at surface. There's a few little lakes around. But they managed to traverse the entire property. They walked over 100 kilometres. So it's easy. You can move around easily, which is really, really good. Yeah. And they did manage to find some carbonatite float at surface. So we're getting that analysed at the moment. And then, you know, from that, we just plan our next steps, and a lot of that will be obviously around making contact with the First Nations, the Sachigo Nations. So they're located about 100 kilometres to the south of us. So we're just in discussions with them at the moment, trying to tee up meetings, and then of course the approvals process. But that's just such a big carbonatite, the potential for having a significant resource there for rare earths is really, really promising. So I guess that's the other one that we've got access to at the moment, and there are other rare earth play is in Namibia, but we're waiting for that licence to be granted.
Technology and innovation play a crucial role in modern mining operations. Is there any specific technological advancements or innovations you're particularly excited about with Cazaly?
I guess there's always, people working on new ways to explore and new methods. There's plenty of geophysical tools out there, and people are looking at advancing those. And we are seeing deeper now with geophysics. There's magnetotellurics and seismic and things like that, which are being used in the hard rock space as well. But I guess the next big thing, like with most things at the moment, has to be AI and how we apply that. And I know there has been various competitions previously where, people have run, say, a database through, an AI program, and then it's predicting, where you should be heading to next.
Okay.
That sort of thing. So
is that accurate?
Good question.
Yeah.
Not
unproven
exactly
at this stage?
Okay, yeah. But I'm sure it would be still trialling. But, I think there's plenty to be done in future, just to help us make new discoveries.
Yeah.
So certainly I think there is room in the AI space. I think it's also important too that you understand the data you're looking at.
Yes.
So, and there's various layers of data. And so I think that's the other piece, is pulling all of that together and having, if that can be done by a computer, that's pretty amazing, just to piecemeal it all. Because currently, sort of most exploration strategies will rank various targeting methodologies and also characteristics of areas as to, do we think it's got potential to host mineralisation or not.
Yep.
So it'll be really interesting moving forward as to how technology impacts our industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Off the back of that, exploring and developing mineral resources obviously requires a long-term vision. Can you provide some insight into Cazaly's strategic goals and vision for the future?
Well, Cazaly's business model is still sound. I think it's still very valid. Obviously, we'll look to add value for shareholders, and, in my mind, that's making great discoveries.
Yeah.
That's the plan, make a discovery, and also just looking for, bringing in new projects, where is the potential going to be in the future? Ideally, sort of as we were just talking about, is, trying to keep ahead of the game. Where do we think things are going to be going, and positioning ourselves with those commodities?
Yep.
So looking to be on the front foot, really. That's sort of what I'd like to see, a nice big discovery. Be great.
Yep.
And just building our asset base, Cazaly's always looking for new good projects and what we can do in that space. And then I think ideally, we want to, assuming that we have success and make discoveries, and then the company can grow from there,
Lastly, for those people who are interested in actually becoming an investor in Cazaly, where can they go?
So we have a number of platforms that we have set up, social media, but they can certainly jump onto our website. Is probably the best port of call, and from there that will take them to other avenues where they can see interviews or they can look at past presentations. That's probably the best port of call.
CazalyResources.com.au. Go there and find out all the information. Similarly, you can find all of our podcast episodes on the website, so make sure you check those out. Tara, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks so much, Emily.